Can you hear me? Good. Alright, I think we're back. Sorry, Johnny Depp is still in my system. I have to get him out of here. But yeah, we're gonna go over Transcendence, which, eh, whoops. So yes, we're gonna go over Transcendence. Johnny Depp is everywhere. I know that sounds like a good thing for some of you, especially the ladies out there, but it's not, trust me. Basically, the storyline is bizarre, and very interesting. One, it's only because it's typical Johnny Depp on this fashion. Here's how I explain it. When people ask me and how this is how I explain it. Basically, it's with Johnny Depp. He gets shot at a convention. Apparently, the bullet was poisoned. His wife, wanting to save him, of course, he tries to save him by connecting him to a computer, but he wants more. So he wants more by downloading it to the internet, and basically by doing that, he slowly tries to take over the world. That's basically the gist of it. Now, I know that sounds a little bit bat crazy. Yeah, batshit crazy, I should say. But right, I mean, it's because it is. This concept is straight out of 80s, 90s sci-fi show film lore. I mean, it's very like Weird Science alone. Hello. I mean, War Games. Yeah, big fan of that movie, by the way. Definitely should check it out, especially with the movies now coming out with those references. Captain America, just shouting that out there. But yeah, it's so out there, and yet it works. And using Johnny Depp as the computer interface is just borderline genius and beyond creepy. Seriously, by the end of the film, I was actually afraid to turn on any appliance or gadget in my house, and I still am. I mean, afraid to only find Johnny Depp on my screen asking if I want to play a game. Pausing here to see if you get the War Games reference, and we're back. Yeah, granted, I was pretty upset, maybe not that upset, but intrigued rather, that it was a very seriously toned film, of a film. I mean, it had its moments that some were fun, some were funny, but the majority of it was actually very serious, which is fine to some degree. Honestly, I'm not surprised, due to what Depp does. I mean, because he takes most of his roles very seriously. I mean, he does some fucked up shit. But I mean, I mean, pretty much the whole cast did. I mean, you have Paul Bettany who does that, Rebecca Hall, I believe, who does that as well. So it wasn't to anyone's shock to anyone that they did this film, and they brought it to a serious tone. I mean, because it is a serious problem. I mean, if you hook up anyone to the computer, especially if that computer has a mind of its own, and it wants to do what it wants to do, it's gonna have free will, and it's gonna go after things. Now, I was actually hoping they would have added the play a game, or I can't do that, Dave. Computer funny references. The War Games reference. But I can see why they didn't do that. It would break out of the character of the film. The film alone is a character. Johnny Depp, the computer interface, is a character. So I feel like saying that would probably break it, because it has its own brain. It's on its own path. It's doing what it wants to do, despite how bad it looks on the outside. But but when the film got too invested into itself, basically. But other than that, it's absolutely something. It's actually something you want to watch, especially if you go a little nuts and set your sights on the IMAX, because your eyes are definitely in for an amazing ride, and it is fantastic. The cinematography, the CGI, there's no pixelation at all. It was just one great looking film alone. The dialogue could have been a little bit better. There could have been a little bit more action. Uh, the only action sequences are basically at the end, where everything just starts blowing up pretty much. Honestly, I could see why people didn't want to see this film. It's a little bit bland. But in some aspects, especially in the dialogue, like I said, needed more needed more. But in retrospect, all the sci-fi jibber jabber feature films that do that, it's kind of they normally feel like that, But this was different. This had it was interesting because it was how it was casted, it was how it was the action, the how it was delivered from the actors, how it was acted out. And it was fun. It was entertaining. I love that fact about movies sometimes. And the fact that they brought in Paul Bettany, who is an appliance, as Tony Stark, and they also brought in Kate Mara, who's blowing up all of a sudden. Again, Iron Man. She was in Iron Man as well. She's also going to be Sue Storm in the reboot of Fantastic Four, so make sure you guys check that out. I know this guy will. Morgan Freeman and Cillian Murphy, all talented, completely talented actors here. But there is a warning: you will never want to turn on or go near a device ever again. Because if you want to, please. I'm not saying don't, but it is very hilarious. I was at least not touching my phone for at least a week. And don't even get me started on the my Xbox 360, because I have not touched that since. I'm a little afraid. Trust me. You will be too if you watch this film. But there is no warning on my channel, so make sure you guys subscribe to that. You can do that in the description below, or below in general. You can also click the thumbs up button. Bam, bam. Next week, don't get scared, because we're gonna be with Marlon Wayans and his directed Haunted House 2. Yes, there's a sequel to that, so stay tuned for that.